Thursday night. You know what that means. It's time for Magic and Martinis. Please welcome your host, Scott Wells.
Okay, now I'm here. I'm pushing the right button, having a little bit of martini, a little bit of vodka in my martini here this evening, and I hope you guys are enjoying whatever we're having to do during this lockdown. And I'm glad you come back. This is our 42nd week we've been doing this. My goodness, and I've gotten both my shots. Hope a lot of you guys have had those then as well. We've got just a fun show as usual tonight. That we've got lined up, a very unique and different show, which is kind of redundant. Doesn't unique mean different? Anyhow. So, yeah. Hey, Phil. So, yep, you're first in here. And George Schindler, man, love you. The Dean of American Society of American Magicians. Thank you very much for being in here, too. And yes, Jim, it is awesome. And we've got John Custer. Usually he's the first guy in the house, but he's from Michigan, so he is here. So thanks again. And who is this guy? Mark Holstein. Who would, stage manager in the house. Oh, yeah, that's who that guy is. And we've got from Silver Springs, Maryland. Hello, Ron. Glad that you're here then, too. And we got Ted. Hello, gents. Good to see you. And, of course, what would this be when we're going to be talking about conventions in Colon, Michigan? At Abbott's get together without our sweet Harriet. Harriet is in the room. So she may have to leave soon. I'm glad that she was here. She was saying that she was having kids who were coming. So thank you, Harriet, for being here then tonight. Let's see who else. Real quickly. Hey, Chuck Arkin is here, Cincinnati in the house. Hey, Chuck, glad you're here. And then let's see, from Barton Harbor, Michigan, another one, John Dudley's here. And then John Luca. Hey, John. Hello, everyone. And my buddy across town over here, PJ Compagna. Glad that you are here as well. Yeah, said Houston, Harriet, and the Dean are in here. And somebody else that we always love to see each year over in Colon, of course, is Jerry Costello. So, Jerry, thanks very much. Looking forward to seeing you later this year. And Maureen Hoppman from Canada is coming down. I talked with him on the phone just a couple of weeks ago. Great to have you in here, Maureen. That was great. And Julie Sabansky. Who is she? Oh, yeah, I think she might know David. So I'm glad you're here. Mark. So, hey, thanks for the shirt, the compliment on the shirt. Perhaps, matter of fact, let me just take another drink. I'm starting to get thirsty talking so much. But yeah, we'll talk about these shirts, and I'm going to turn around and show you the back of this. You see, it's a bowling shirt, so it's got my name on it. And on the back of this, let me show you over here. Yeah. And the nice thing is they spelled blow wrong. They spelled it bowl instead of colon blow. It was colon bowl. Anyhow, so that is something that we'll talk about a little bit. And another guy who's, of course, always at Abbott's is going to be John Stirk. Hello there. Dave McGee is there. And let's see, my goodness, Len and Dwayne from Pennsylvania. And we got Dick Brook. Hey, Dick and Dorothy, you finally made it. You give me a call. I'm so glad you guys were able to make it over here. And Dan Sclair from Ellington. And for another one from Michigan. Eric, thank you very much for being here. And so you have the clean colon check. Okay. And yeah, Al's going to be one of the people we talked to here in just a minute. And Chuck said, okay, so now that I've kind of welcomed a few people into the room, I think it's time to actually welcome some of our guests into the room. And as I normally do, of course, I want to, and before we begin, I just got an email from someone saying that unfortunately we've just had someone pass, and that's Harold Twaddle. And he was the one who had worked with the Sick and Convalescent and the Linking Ring magazine for a number of years. And the email I had just received is saying that he was born October 20th, 1931, and passed on March 15th, 2021. So I was unaware that he had passed. I knew he was a little bit ill, but I just wanted to bring it up and mention that as well before we kind of come on. So let me close that out. And also while I'm there, okay, yep, Nathan Comarsh, glad you're down. Yeah, good to see you from Florida. And what is that? Colon's going to be booming this summer. That's right. Yeah, 4 brick and mortar shops. A lot of stuff that's happening there. We'll get around to talking about that. And all the way also, my buddy Sune Narud, all the way from Norway. thanks for being up and joining us tonight. This is just north of fantastic. All right. So I said, normally whenever I bring in people, of course, rather than giving you a resume about who they are, I kind of let the video speak for themselves. And I'm going to bring on my first guest over here that will tell you about this person as he talks about himself.
Hi there, I'm B.J. Mallen. I've worked for Abbott's Magic for probably since I was old enough to push a broom, I think. And somebody actually called me the Dick Clark of Poland last year at the convention. They say I still look just as young as I did then, but I'm not. I'm a little bit older. It's been about 15 years that I've been working for Abbott's, and I hope you guys come on down and check it out in person. Once you've been here once, you'll always be back, and be sure and make it up to Poland for our get-together too. That's just as addicting.
And here is the one and only man himself, Mr. B.J. Mallen. B.J., hey, cheers to you, my friend.
That was cheers. That was a bit of a throwback. Wow.
I thought that it might be. It's been a while since it looked like you'd done that.
I'm no longer claiming to be the Dick Clark of Poland.
I'm gonna just gotta leave that there. That's fine. What are you drinking over there tonight? What do you got there, BJ?
Well, about the time that video was shot, I was in my 20s, and anybody who attended the Abbott's get-together around that time will understand why I am drinking water out of my. You can't really see it because the lighting is terrible, but this is my Cup of Joe Exotic mug that my oldest got me for Christmas. So it's my Cup of Joe, and it's got water in it. So that's what I'm drinking. But for cocktails, I figured we are in Michigan. Michigan is a legal state, and I do work for a company that makes wonderful chocolate bars that are infused with a certain herbal substance. So for tonight, I don't know if you can. There we are. My Midnight Roots key lime pie bar, and I've got a Midnight Roots blueberry bar here. The blueberry bar is a milk chocolate bar with some blueberries. The key lime pie is a white chocolate bar, key lime pie flavored and graham cracker crust. And I figure I'll nibble on a few pieces of that as we go on throughout the show.
So you're going to be having some of that available for us when we come up to Abbott's later this year?
Well, as long as you're an adult over the age of 21, it's absolutely legal for you here in Michigan. So, yeah. We make some of the best chocolate. We're like Weedy Wonka. Everybody gets a golden ticket.
Weedy Wonka. I love it. All right. Well, cheers, I guess, in that case. All right. Let's. We got a couple more people. Let me bring on the next guy. And this short video will tell you a bit about him.
I'm Al the Only. I have the pleasure of entertaining audiences around the globe. Enjoy the magic. The blade penetrates. Obviously, the blade's not as sharp as the magician.
Aloha.
Aloha! My gosh, Scott, I'm busting a gut. Cheers, my friend.
Cheers to you. So
that's tasty.
What are you drinking over there then tonight? That's not a Crown Royal.
That's not a Crown Royal. This is a Cocotini.
Cocotini.
2 shots of Malibu rum, 2 shots of vodka, a splash of pineapple, splash of pineapple juice, that is. Oh, wait, there's and a coconut kind of Coco Lopez. So if you want one, they're awesome.
Well, it sounds like there's so much sugar in there. I'll take 2.
I had to do a taste test last night to remember how to make these, so thank you.
That sounds great. A couple other people just came in the room, and then also I just want to point out and say hello to John Jansky. He said hello. And Roger, you want one of those shirts? Yes. Actually, Al, you were the one. Bring a little bit of feedback from somebody.
Yeah, it's coming from mine. I might have to drop out and try to come back on my phone. My headphones weren't connected to my computer, so let me see if I can get back on real quick on my iPhone and connect that way. I'll join back up in a moment. Sorry about that.
No problem. So we'll let BJ back out here for just a second. We've also got Christina says hello. And BJ, there we go. Wait a minute, I'm still hearing that. That sounds like it. Is that coming from yours, Al?
What would you like me to try?
Okay, let me try my headphones here just a minute here.
Hey, I'm going to mute myself for 5 seconds.
That's okay. Now, I'll tell you what. Are you still here? Yeah, I think I still hear a little bit of an echo.
I'm not saying anything.
It's just my voice that's reverberating. I can hear an echo coming back through your speakers.
Mine.
Yes.
Oh. Yes. How do I get off the speaker and onto the headset that I thought I was using?
It should be something over there where it says cam mic.
Yeah, here I am on audio. I'm on default external mic. Oh, built in. Let's do this. Oh,
sorry about that.
Here we go.
And just to answer your question over there, then Mike Mallen, what's up? I'm still hearing a feedback over there from you.
How about now?
Whenever I'm talking, yes. I do hear my echo, my voice like coming from your speaker.
There we go. It's gone.
Okay.
How about now?
Yes, that's much better. Okay.
Now I can't hear you at all.
There we go. So Roger was saying, yeah, BJ is a funny guy, and he's always working over there. And some key lime. Okay, we'll have to get back once he gets back on. Okay, I tell you what we're going to do while we're waiting for Al to get his speaker and everything work back over here.
1, 2, 3. My microphone's on.
It's okay. Can you hear us okay?
Can you hear me now?
There we go.
Now, can you hear me?
Yes, BJ, we can hear you. Okay.
Okay.
I think it was actually Al's microphone and speaker. We were getting the feedback.
Oh, for crying out loud.
After all going through all that.
Almost.
Okay. While we're doing that, let's bring on David Seebach over here with this short video.
Another fine Apple product.
Well, Laura and allies demonstrate with absolutely nothing above. There we are. And let's bring on David Seebach. There he is. Hey, David.
Good to be here.
Good. I'm glad you're here. I wanted to actually have the illusionist on last. Isn't that usually the way in the show? I mean, I kind of have like the, close-up guy, stand-up guy, a comedian, and then we close with the illusions, right?
That's tradition.
That's the tradition. And you've been working at Abbott's for a long number of years, I know, and we got people, like Mike Miller, who's been bringing in a lot of people. Of course, you've been working with Mark Holstein as the stage manager for a long number of years and all that. What are some of your experience? What are one of your great memories, David, that you had from Abbott's over the years?
Well, probably number one was when I got the Jack Gwynn Award in 1980. That was it was a complete surprise, and to get that huge recognition was great. The other memory is not so great. It was 1972, and it was the first year that I'd ever appeared at the Get Together, and I went over for the whole week, but my cast couldn't come for the whole week. So you see this guy in the back here?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the guy with the glasses, look like.
Yeah. He drove everybody over from Milwaukee 250 miles to Colon to be there and perform with me. I had no cast there. His car broke down on the Illinois toll road.
Oh, boy.
And it was only through Herculean efforts and his desire to break the speed limits in Indiana that they arrived. I was the closing act, and Clark, the Senator Crandall, had been the MC that night, and he had a spot just before mine where he did his shtick and bits and routines, and that would give us time to bring our gear out on stage. And it was while Clark was performing that Lee and my cast arrived. That's how close it was.
Almost showtime.
Yeah. I don't ever care to repeat that experience.
Wow. Not a one that you like to remember.
Well, it's funny. It's like all of the tragic incidents that we've all suffered on stage. They're horrible when they happen.
Yes.
But they become great stories beginning the next day.
Later. That's right. That's right. There have been a couple people, by the way, that who have come in to say, like Mark Holstein, say, happy birthday. Your birthday was just the 20th. Is that right?
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hopefully you got my card.
I did. Yes. Thank you very much. Thanks for thinking of me and all of Al's efforts.
Yep. Yeah, Al, you did a good job, of trying to coordinate between you and Julie of getting everything all put together.
It was all Julie's idea.
The results are what matter.
Just happy to help.
That's true. So what'd you do for your birthday? I mean, since we're under lockdown, what'd you do?
Actually, 6 of us, all somehow related to the magic field, went to a steakhouse in Milwaukee and had a really wonderful dinner. We had a really great dinner. And most of us have already gotten one or both shots, so we felt fairly secure. They had us sequestered.
Sure.
And I had a bone-in fillet and a couple of lobster tails, the most expensive meal I'd ever ordered. But it was great because in 2019, a corporate client, after paying me, thanked me by giving me a $200 American Express gift card. And I held it till last Saturday night. And then on Sunday, some friends stopped over. This was unexpected. And one of my stage managers came in with a cake. And that was sweet. But it's when you looked at what was on the cake, she had duplicated 3 Owen Magic illusions in miniature. There was a guillotine, a lion's cage with a tiger in it, and Azra that you just saw. And
yes.
And she's floating up. She's off the table. It was remarkable that she had all of this on a sheet cake.
Wow. That's and Julie had arranged for all of that.
I don't know. That nobody tells me anything. They're all saying, I don't know. They're all playing dumb. I suspect Julie had a lot to do with that. And I think the incredible number of birthday cards that I received. I've never received this many birthday cards in my entire life. I think that Julie and the guy up in the corner there, Al, had something to do with that.
I'm going to see if I can actually share this, in fact, to show you what you're talking about there. Just a second. Let's see. Just a minute here.
Did you get it, Scott?
I'm about to show the entire screen. Yeah, here we go. So I'm going to show. There you go. Can you see that?
Yep.
There we go. Going to, yeah, look at that image over there. Yeah, so it looks like, what have you got, like a guillotine and then
Right. It's a perfect duplicate of the one that Alan Zagorski of O and Magic made. You notice it even has the windlass crank on the side and
on the side right over here. Yeah.
right, and then the hinges for when you take it apart because you're
Right
gonna,
here.
put it away. Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see it, but there are little holes for the carrots below the neck.
Right down here. Yeah.
Right. And
see
you'll
it? Yeah.
you'll notice there is a pail with a head in it. Because of course we have to do that gag where you bring the bucket out, and then
Yes.
you'll see the cage there.
Yeah.
And she's duplicated the Owen Magic Lion's Bride illusion. There is a little plastic tiger in there.
Oh,
you
is that
see,
what?
yeah, you see the silver cloth over the cage in the customary fashion.
Yes.
And then down just under the knuckles of my hand is the Azra. And what impressed me was if you look at the little cloth, it's gold with a black rectangle.
Yes.
And that's exactly how my assistant Peggy Peterson back in 1979 sewed that cloth for when that Azra illusion was brand new to our show.
Wow. Let me see if I can bring in the next picture. There's a little bit better detail of what you were talking about there with the
Right.
yeah. David.
Right.
Oh, there's a tiger. I
There's
see.
the tiger.
Mm-hmm.
Is all that edible?
No, the decorations weren't. The rest of the cake was delicious, but the decorations were made out of wood and fabric, and it just blew my mind away. I hadn't expected so many people to stop over and then to have this. That was
Well, you see what happens when you get old.
You find out who your friends are as you get older.
right. Well, it beats the alternative, as they say.
Amen.
That's right. And let's see. I'm sorry, Harriet said she has to leave, so she's saying bye, Harriet. Watch this over on the recording. But Sue asked, "Did the tiger pee in the cage?" It sounds like there's a story behind that.
This tiger was 100% continent.
Okay. And it says over here, David, hold on. I went to first and sixth. Pretty sure that David was there, and John Sherwood, Dennis Loomis, and others. So happy birthday. Senator Crandall used to hold court at the elementary school. In his lecture, the documentary was still on the stool. Yeah.
Yep, that's right. And Bruce Florrick was there. And I don't know if it was that year, but there was one of those early years that Doug Henning was there from Toronto. And of course, nobody knew him at the time, but he hung out with us because we were all the teenage guys.
Wow, that was pretty cool. Now, BJ, you've been doing a lot of stuff, of course, over the years with Abbott's, and the video showed you had been working there. What did it say, like 15 years, or how long actually did you work with them, or are you still?
Well, I still help out when they need me, but I basically grew up around here. I moved to Colon when I was in the 5th grade and started coming to Abbott's with every spare dollar I had in my pocket. And eventually, Greg, I think I was about 12 or 13 years old when Greg said, "Hey, we need someone to answer the telephone during the Saturday show this Saturday. Do you think you can come in and do it for us?" And I was like, "Yes." And been pretty much coming in every time Greg calls me ever since. So it's going on, I don't know, 25, 30 years now. Almost. Jeez.
30 years.
It's been a while. Been a while, yeah. And I've gone from just being the kid sitting at the phone answering it on the Saturday afternoon to now I'm emceeing the Wednesday show every year, and I've worn many hats, and it seems like I'm taking on more as each year goes by, which is a bittersweet thing. But this place, I'm sitting in Abbott's right now, and this place is definitely something special.
Is that where you are right now? Are you in Abbott's?
Yep. I am sitting in Greg's squeaky chair. I figured, what the heck? I might even put my feet on his desk at some point. Just he doesn't know how to use these technologies, so he'll never see this.
Yeah. He's not there right now, so what the heck? You may as well kick back and relax, and he's not going to watch this later. And he's like, "What? I don't know how to watch it."
Right.
So what's the key lime pie that Ted's talking about? Save some key lime. BJ.
Oh, that's one of the candy bars I'm munching on here. That's it's delicious. It's magically delicious, in fact.
Yeah. Apparently so. A few other people are just kind of interested in that also. Al, you had been coming for a long number of years, and your name is pretty much synonymous with the cemetery as far as giving cemetery tours and all that. And I know there's a great story behind that, and you've written that up, and you got a book, and you have to keep adding to that all the time. Can you talk a little bit about what is that, and tell me something about that?
Oh boy, this is a labor of love. The Magic Graveyard. I'm trying to get out a 2021 edition. I have 3 new chapters to add to the book. Kevin King, Norm Nielsen, and Zany Blaney is going to be buried at Lakeside Cemetery. Mm-hmm. There is the possibility of 2 other magicians that have passed, but may be buried at Lakeside. But since it's not confirmed, I won't mention any names.
Right.
Yeah, I talk about dead people. Basically.
Do they talk about you? Do they talk to you?
Sometimes. The spirits actually talk to me. No.
Yeah.
A magician, a clown, and a pickpocket walk into a cemetery. They were dying to get in there. Bump.
That's right. Speaking of spirits, cheers to you then too.
Oh, thank you, my friend.
Yeah, they're dying to get into there. And so you wonder how many people are buried there. The answer is all of them. Yeah.
I guess the story goes all the way back to Carol Fox. After Duke Stern died in 1973, every Friday at midnight, Carol would bring out his buddies and a few young guys, and they would tell Dookie stories. And Carol did that because he didn't want the stories to be forgotten. So I had the pleasure of being invited many times. And then, moving along quickly because it's a long story, Hank Morehouse asked me to do a cemetery tour as an event during the get-together instead of at midnight on Friday. That way more people could go. And basically, it became my responsibility to preserve these stories.
Right.
And even though I'd heard the stories many times over, I was starting to forget details. So I started writing notes, and I thought maybe the notes would turn into lecture notes that I could sell. And then the lecture notes turned into a little book that you'd find at the grocery checkout counter. And now it's become the book that it is. So I guess, if anything, I'm trying to...
When you're saying at the checkout counter, you mean like in Colon at the Kroger or something, or what?
Any grocery store. I'm talking the design, the style of book. The little hip books.
Hip pocket
books, right.
Yeah.
So basically, the reason for the book is now the stories are preserved. But it is going into a 7th print, and I'm adding stories of both Blackstones. I'm adding a story of Fred R. Merle. I'm getting information from people that hasn't been written up, but is verifiable, and I think the stories are really cool. So even though the chapter on a person is done, I find a new picture, I find a new anecdote, and the book keeps growing.
So do you expand on that then each year, or how often?
I thought once I wrote somebody's chapter, that was it, but no. And then I'm finding corrections of stories, and I'm finding that in researching, there may be a story in the local newspaper that doesn't match a story in, let's say, the Linking Ring or Mum. So I need to reach people who may have been there at the time or may have heard the story firsthand. There was a discrepancy as to how Monk Watson got his name.
Explain that story. That was a good one in which go ahead.
Well, the obituary stated that a lady gave Monk his nickname. And it was basically for the same reason. Monk was an acrobat. He learned how to do tumbles and pratfalls from a clown. And so that part of the story is consistent. The part of the story that was different, in the obituary, it says this lady gave him his nickname after seeing his fun, exuberant character. His son, Bill, who was a very dear, close friend of mine, told me that his father got his nickname through an army sergeant or a lieutenant colonel, I don't know which, when Monk was doing somersaults in between foxholes, delivering cigarettes, delivering candy, delivering messages, And the officer was out there and said, "Hey, is that monkey out there again?" So you have two stories. One was in the obituary, and if you can't believe what's in an obituary, so I didn't have to, but what I did is I rewrote the chapter saying, I believe it was the Kalamazoo Gazette or whatever the local paper was called, or Sturgis Journal, it is written up as this, but his son told me that. So this way, if somebody reads one or the other, they can't say that the information I gave is incorrect. I gave both sides. So now you have the rest of the story.
And also, sometimes you said there is a discrepancy as to the date of death, or some of the birth date or something that's on the headstone is different.
More so birthdays, because of the way the date of birth was registered. It wasn't necessarily the day of birth. It could have been the day of registration of the birth. So you may have been born on the 1st, but by the time it went to the courthouse or the clerk's office, it had been the 3rd. Another discrepancy is your birth date on your certificate of birth could have changed when you applied for the draft. My father and my father-in-law, Lori's dad, both celebrated 2 birthdays. Their birth certificate said one date, but for some reason, when they went into the draft, the U.S. government decided to designate a different day as their birthday. And the fun one I'm having right now is with Fred R. Merle. The man had 4 names, and Fred R. Merle was not one of them until the very end. His birth certificate shows his name as Joseph. His draft application shows his name a second way. His certificate of death shows him as Fred R. Merle. But his mom and dad's name was Rajolt. And henceforth, that's where the R, Fred R. Merle, comes in. So I finally called their daughter, Marilyn, who's still alive, living in California. I said, "Marilyn, what was your dad's name?" And she says, "Moses." 4 names for the same individual, and now I have to write that up so it makes sense. Will it change the course of? Absolutely not. Do I think it's a piece of trivia that, oh my gosh, I have 3 legal documents stating his legal name. Each one is different, and then his daughter tells me that he was called a 4th name.
Wow, interesting.
Fun stuff.
It is. There was someone who had also asked, then, Al, is it true that there are different cards in the back of the tombstones? And Roger had said, yeah, there's like, your card was the 3 of clubs. I know, like, I'm going to have the 8 of diamonds put on the back of my headstone. I've already got a plot next to Walter's, Blaney's. So I'm going to have my wife and I there.
Welcome to the club.
Thank you.
When I started writing the book, I was going to put a coming attractions chapter, but thought, nah, maybe not.
There'll be a Joker on BJ's tombstone.
Nice. The only person who has a card engraved on their stone currently is Charles Windley.
Oh, is that right? Just one. Interesting. So John asked, so is the book have Moses in it? Or which?
The new edition 2021. I would prefer to put out a 2022 edition because that gives me more time to write and rewrite. Also, 2022 will be the 80th anniversary of the first magician who was buried there.
80th.
But,
wow.
We have some heavyweights in our industry who are joining the family, and it's going to be a great year at the get-together. If you don't have your full registration now, do it tomorrow. Seriously. If the government restrictions hold up, we're limited to a certain number of people who can attend. So get them now. And because it's going to be a great reunion, I call it the 40-plus reunion. Everybody, the headliners this year were all kids in the late 70s, very early 80s who were attending the get-together, maybe for the first or second time, with the great desire of being professional magicians. I mean, look at the lineup. Lance Burton, Mac King, Jeff Hobson, Kevin James, David Williamson. They were all kids in the 70s, late 70s, attending the get-together.
Yeah.
And now they're the pinnacle of success of our industry. And they're all going to be back together in Colon, Michigan, where I know that they're from different parts of the country, but there's this bond, and that's why we call it the Abbott's family. It's my longest lasting friendships, like with the three of you gentlemen, are a direct result of the Abbott's Magic get together.
Well, that's true. And BJ, can you kind of address that also as far as why this is really a family camp and why they call it a camp? Camp Colon?
Well, Abbott's is really unique in the world of magic conventions. You know, if you go to any other magic convention, it takes place in a major metropolitan area usually, and in a hotel or a convention center, and you'll be in a building where there'll be other people that don't even know that there's a magic event going on, you know. But in Colon, those 4 days, excuse me, it's like a mecca of magic. The locals that don't like magic, they plan their vacation out of town, and the only people who are in the town are here because of the Abbott's Magic Get Together. And it's also in an entire tiny village, so there aren't really walls that encompass the whole thing. Sure, there's scheduled events that take place that people show up to, but there's a lot of organic things that occur kind of on their own. There's kind of conventions that occur around the convention, if you will. But it is like one big family. You know, once you've been here, you're going to come back. That's just how it works. There's a saying in mysticism that to just try and describe the mystical experience is like trying to describe the scent of a rose to someone who's never smelled a rose. You can talk for 1,000 years until you're blue in the face, and they're not going to get it. But if you hold a rose under their nose and you say sniff, and they smell it, now you've got a shared experience, and you can talk in language that you'll understand. Well, the Abbott's Get Together is really the same way. You can listen to us talk all night about it. You're still not going to get it. You got to come here. You got to experience it for yourself, and then you'll understand.
I'm laughing at Jerry's comment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
BJ is absolutely correct. I've been to a bunch of other magic conventions, as we all have, and as everybody who's watching this has, and they're all fine. They're all interesting. There's always interesting stuff to see and do, but the Abbott's Get Together, it's completely stands apart. It's definitely the friendliest, absolutely the friendliest event you will ever attend, and
well, I think a lot of
it's family. You just feel like you're part of this inclusive group, and then there's these other parties that go on that people throw.
There's a social aspect to this, David. You're exactly right. Like people having parties all around the place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you've been to a convention and hung out in the lobby for a little while, imagine the lobby is the entire village. And that's pretty much kind of what it's like. You know, everybody's just kind of hanging out, having a great time together. And the small town attitude really does kind of rub off on everybody. They check their ego at the village limits, and everybody has a great time. You will, whether you like it or not, gain some family members, and you'll probably not agree with all of them we're finding out.
Well, Colon has changed over the years.
That's a great analogy, BJ. Absolutely well put.
Colon has changed. I know there were some, like the Flying Carpet and some other places that used to be there. I think it burned down, and there have been some other changes or whatnot. And of course, Abbott's used to be the place that was the magic shop, and now there are 5 magic shops in a town of what's the population? 300 or something? It's amazing.
Excuse me, Scott. Scott, did you say there have been some fires? The frickin' whole city has burned down at one point or another. The grocery store burned, the bank burned, the opera, everything burns down in that town.
At some point, yeah. It seems like.
Something about the air in Colon. I don't know. We have had a lot of fires here over the years. Even Abbott's itself has not escaped. We've had several fires over the years that hurt the business. So, including the one that led to the lawsuit.
What lawsuit?
So, this
California.
was back when Abbott's had a couple of different branches throughout the country. We sent out an illusion. I forget what one it was, but it involved a flash pot, and it was being used by a dance troupe. And the director thought, or the producer thought, that the flash and the smoke wasn't enough, so he added more, and it ended up burning up a dancer pretty severely. And then Abbott's was sued for liability. And it actually, we've been told by some law students, it's been in some of their textbooks as one of the earliest cases. But yeah, that was the end of several of our branch stores.
Here's a
It
piece
was
of trivia for you. You know who our attorney was, or the attorney for Abbott's?
Rich
That
Block.
I do not.
William Larson Sr.
Oh, really? Senior.
I love these stories because they're going to get lost. Yeah, William Larson Sr. was the attorney for Abbott's in that case.
it was
That
just
goes
a,
back that far.
It
Wow.
was just a regular flash pot, BJ.
Right.
It wasn't a whole
Just a
illusion.
regular flashlight.
It
Okay.
was, and I remember when I was an older teenager ordering one for $6.50. The block of wood with the nails, and you
Oh, yeah.
you know you had to take one piece of filament from an extension cord and create a little short circuit, which of course would heat up. And with the circuits today at houses and theaters, you can't do that because it won't work. But back then,
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a short story about that. Also, I was doing an Easter program at at a shopping mall in Midland, Texas, out in West Texas, and so I was having my wife. She was as the Easter bunny, so had a flash pot made exactly like that with a little piece of copper to kind of and it had a flash and smoke and everything. Anyhow, whenever I flipped the switch and for the smoke for her to come out, the whole shopping mall went. The power went out in the whole mall. It's kind of like, I don't know what happened there. It wasn't me, but I knocked out the power, and they were over there trying to flip the switches and get things back on again. But I knocked out the power at the whole place because, that wasn't really a safe kind of a flash bang pot.
I had a Canon illusion. And the flash device in there was where you would take one of those old screw-in fuses like people would have in the basement years ago, and you'd use an X-Acto blade and you'd cut the celluloid off, and now in that receptacle where there was the little piece of metal, you would put your flash powder in there and then just put some tape over it, and
Sure.
the moment you turned that on, you'd get the puff and the boom. And we kept doing it. We were doing it outdoors, and we just kept thinking that it wasn't enough of an explosion, and so we tapped it down and then put more. Tapped it, and we put it off. That everything was gone. It was just gone. We couldn't find parts or pieces. It just everything was destroyed, and we looked at each other. And quickly, one other story that Scott, you just reminded me of. I was performing at the zoo in Milwaukee County for a Christmas party, and we were doing the light bulbs through the woman illusion, and that draws a lot of AC power. So we got there in the afternoon and we set everything up. We had our audio equipment, and maybe we had some fog machines. And I said, but I want to turn everything on. I want everything to be on, and then let's check to make sure all is okay with the light bulbs, because when we turn that on, that's really going to draw the juice. And everything was fine. So we felt good, and we left to come back to do the show. In the interim, they brought in a beer cooler, and we didn't know anything about that. And so we got to that point in the show, and I gave the dramatic introduction, and the music started playing, and my beautiful assistant walked out, and I threw the switch to turn it on, and everything went black. It blew everything, and the circuits were controlled from another building. So once in a lifetime experience again, I hope.
Well, as Mark Holstein says, as a stage manager, that's why he doesn't allow pyro anymore on the Abbott stage. Probably good advice from an attorney there as well. For people who might have come in late, I want to show this shirt again. You see, it's got my name over here on this, and this also may just show the back of this, where it's. Can you read that? Okay. Can you see that?
Lanes.
I guess the back of the
Looks
shirt.
good.
Yeah. So the bowling lanes, and so anyhow, I wanted to ask Al you a little bit about that, because you were the one, I guess, and Ben Bibick were also involved with trying to get that put out, or what was the deal on that?
We were called the Silly Shirt Society, and there were 4 members: Jeff Bibick from Chicago, Mike McGivern from Jackson, Michigan, and at that time, Lori and I from Hamtramck. And the joke was, all 4 of us would show up one night at the evening performance wearing the same identical shirt.
Yeah.
So it was a running gag. It probably ran its course. And the popularity grew that more and more people wanted a shirt.
It looked like that,
We
yeah.
must have had several dozen at one point. And the thing is, every shirt was identical. And the only way we were able to accomplish that with that amount of people is we told them where the outlet was. We sent them photos and we said, hey, if you want in, go buy your shirt. Well, the funny story is how it all started. Steve Ryder, Franz Harari, and Jeff Bibick shared a 3-piece pink tuxedo. One of them wore the pants, the other wore the vest, and the third wore the coat. And they showed up at an evening show. So that was kind of the impetus of the Silly Shirt Society. And the original members of the Silly Shirt Society were Steve Ryder, Jeff Bibick, and myself. Wrong before we picked the name. So eventually we decided, okay, it's ran its course, and I think it was for our 75th get-together. Jeff Bibick and I decided we'd do something special, and we had this bowling shirt designed. What's really funny is that there was never a bowling alley in Colon unless you were to ask one of us. If you were to ask one of us about the bowling alley, we would have mentioned that early in the Abbott's factory, there were a lot of Polish immigrants that worked for Riesel Bordner, and to keep them occupied and in town, he built them a bowling alley just on the outskirts of town, just a little past where the magic carpet is. And
again,
that
was
has
a
since
colon
burned
blow.
down too.
I mean, colon bowl.
But it burned down.
So yeah, that was another fire in Colon. But no, there was never a bowling alley, and so that was a commemorative shirt. A lot of people have them. They will never be. We tried reproducing them once again, but it just wasn't the same. We also offered them in different colors, but not Scotto. You have one of the originals.
Yeah,
the red one with the bowling pins, black and white bowling pins. That's the real deal.
And also my name right there. That had everybody that year had that.
Right.
Well, yeah, Marine.
Oh, yeah,
had
it was
one.
a classy shirt. I mean, the people who bought them enjoyed them.
Yeah,
I still have mine, and then the purple one that came a year or two later.
The
follow-up shirt.
I've got mine. I just I never remember the appropriate times to wear it.
Well,
sometimes I wear them at the conventions. You know, if I go to Magic Live or one of the nationals, I'll wear it at that convention on one of the days. People ask about it, so I get to plug Abbott's.
Yeah, and rightly so. Now, BJ, did you also work actually building props ever?
Well, I have helped with making some paper hats and things over the years, but they don't really trust me with anything that is powerful. So
power tool, yeah,
yeah. So, or if it's sharp, I mean, I can handle the Elmer's glue and the tissue paper, but that's about the extent of any of the building that I've done here.
Yeah.
I have helped with some of the, like over the years, some marketing and newsletters and different things of that nature, and done a lot of the demoing on the website, and do a lot of the media tours when the time has come, because Greg doesn't like getting in front of the cameras so much.
And I know there have been a lot of people who have worked at Abbott's over the years, like Tom Mullica and Tim Wright, and so many other guys who have gone on to do other kinds of things. Did you work with some of these guys, or have you got some stories about anybody who had kind of gone on to some fame and notoriety within our community?
Well, I didn't work directly with any of those guys. I've worked with Tim a couple of times. He's hot behind the counter during the get together and stuff, and he's always a lot of fun. Skildini. And
yeah,
Tom Mullica, yes, Tom Mullica, he was gone from here when I started here, but I did get to work with him a couple of times.
David, can you hear me?
During the get together, which
Yes.
was nice. And then
Can I mention your party,
Sure.
or would you rather me not?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
We'll talk about that in just a minute.
Yeah, I think.
Or are we
we can all
interrupted?
hear it. I think it's been mentioned.
Everybody just froze.
It's
Anyway.
not really a secret.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Tom Mullica wasn't working here anymore when I started here. Jim Schofield was. Jim Underwood, he was back in the day, and I had a lot of fun working with him. And of course Gordon Miller. I learned a lot from Gordon over the years. So.
That's the other guy is that Gordon has done a lot on stage. Seems like that he's there every year performing. He's the one who opens the show, basically. Is that right?
Well, that has been the tradition. Up until 3 years ago. 3 years ago, Gordon had some major health issues, and
he's doing okay now.
Well, he's maintaining, but he's not the Gordon that he once was, but he's maintaining. But he traditionally was the one that would do the spectacular finale, which is ironic to open something with the finale.
Yeah,
but we would open the convention every year with the spectacular finale, and the Abbott's get-together streamers would fall. 3 years ago, though, I that was one of the hats that I took on. But the last couple of years, we've still managed to get Gordon involved. The first year, I came out on the stage and explained that everybody was probably expecting to see a different face when the curtains parted, as is tradition. But Gordon had some health issues that year, and in spite of that, here he is, and we actually had him on the side of the stage, and he was able to come on to the stage and walk on a little bit and wave and gesture, and the banners fell, and it was really a great moment. And then we got him here again in 2019. For the Wednesday night show, and had him in the front row, and I came out to start the convention and kick off the spectacular finale, and both times when I tried to make the banners drop, it failed, and I walked to the side of the stage and said, can I get a little help here? And the spotlights went down, and Gordon raised his cane, and the banners fell again. So with any luck, we'll get him involved again this August.
Hopefully so. Yeah, as Mark Holstein had said a little bit earlier, well, I don't know if I can find that one again, but he was saying they only have about 50 registrations, I guess, left then right now. And before we leave, Mark had also mentioned something important, and that is Mike Miller's involvement with this every year. He is someone who has been booking he booked me, he booked so many people over the years, just because he's a great guy and knows a lot of people and gets this thing all put together. Just been doing just a great job. Have you got any stories about that?
Well, Mike Miller, he had some huge shoes to fill for sure when we lost Hank Morehouse, and I gotta say he's really stepped up and just done an amazing job. I mean, some of the talent that he manages to get to come to Colon this year especially is just absolutely phenomenal, and he's got decent taste. I mean, the guy has chosen me to MC the Wednesday night show, so he's obviously got an eye. So, but
can I ask how much chocolate you've had, BJ?
Some of those midnight roots on that shirt you're wearing there. Yeah.
It's starting to ooze through my pores at this point, but no. It's hard to not be at least a little narcissistic when you're this good looking, David. Come on.
Okay.
But no, Michael Miller Mike's just done a phenomenal job, and he's a great guy too. And he'll even, when you're in a pinch and on the road, he'll hook you up with Bob Little's phone number, and you'll get a heck of a good story out of the deal. At least that's what happened to me. So, but I'll have to save that one for when we're in person, and we'll fill you guys in about what it's like staying the night at Bob Little's house.
Yeah, when we're over at Curly sometime,
Right.
Share that, or maybe over at the is the VFW Hall or Veterans? What's that called? The American Legion Hall.
The American Legion. Yeah.
Legion.
Yeah. And so, as Steve Chesaday says, and he's one of the people who works with Mark Holstein as one of the stage crews. As he said, this is really his family. Then also, you won't find any other convention that's really quite like that. And that Wilma Wrench had played, at Abbott's 2010. And as John Stirk said, is he had taken over as the organist from Wilma after she had given that up whenever. And so, Mark says,
well, the get together The get-together is nothing but one big tradition that's handed down. Carol Fox going to the cemetery. Now I'm taking it over. You had Dorney pass it on to Bill Smetek. Bill Smetek passed it on to Mark Holstein. You've got the Conklins throwing their party. Hank Morehouse had a welcoming party every Tuesday night for the guys who came into town early. And now David Seebach is carrying on that tradition. The get-togethers at Jerry Costello's house are ongoing. There's a group of people who have sore eyes. They have this big bonfire every year, and maybe it's the fire that. No, yeah. What I'm saying is there are so many traditions that carry on through the generations that make this such a special get-together and a convention. A lot of us who have been coming for years and years seem the magic gets in the way of the get-together, but it's necessary to have the lectures and the evening shows. So even though I'm preaching to the choir, I'm really not sure who's all on watching the podcast. Grab a friend and tell them to register. Bring somebody new. It's always fun when you're there with somebody who knows the individuals, who knows where the bonfires are, where the secret parties are, where the gathering on the pontoon boats are. Because when somebody comes in cold, it takes them about a year or two to acquaint themselves with the old timers, acquaint themselves with, hanging out at Curly's or the Legion or at Five Star. If you know somebody at that table, you are always welcome. And what the new people coming in, we need to get them to know is all you have to do is approach us and say hi. That's the type of gathering it is.
Yeah.
Do yourself a favor. Bring somebody new this year. There's, I think Mark Holstein just posted there's 80 some registrations
50.
left, or 50
I think he said there are only 50. Yeah.
All right, let's get 50 new people who have never been to a get-together to attend this year.
Well, Chuck Arkin has just
and by the way, I got to go back to Mike Miller. Mike Miller has done an outstanding job going back to tradition. Hank Morehouse used to book the acts. Now Mike Miller has stepped up, and my gosh, it's phenomenal. We are seeing acts in Colon that we probably would have never seen before because of Mike's worldly association with other magicians from around the country and at different in China and Europe and Asia. Wow. Mike really deserves a lot of credit.
I think Al has just transformed into Jerry Lewis over Labor Day weekend.
He's got the telethon going right here.
No kidding.
Come on.
Can we get 50 more registrations?
Tiffany! Tiffany!
And Roger was asking about fireworks. That's another thing I don't think people know. We have fireworks, and I guess that's going to be on Friday night still again this year. As far, do you know, BJ?
I don't think we'll have the fireworks yet.
Yeah, I don't know if we're doing the fireworks this year or not. That's to be determined.
Okay. And Chuck Arkin had asked
and again,
also
the
about...
fireworks was not an Abbott's... The
Lions Club
was not an Abbott-sponsored function.
Yeah.
No, it was... Kay Decker was kind of instrumental with it. And yes, Abbott subsidized a lot of times, but... there's so many different things going on in the community. The garage sales, the bake sales, the churches who have breakfast or dinners. By the way, we only have 49 registrations left, so please call in now.
Here's another little incident. If you're a resident of Colon and you decide for your own purposes that you want to have a garage or a rummage sale, what better week to have it than during Magic Week, because the population of the little village just explodes. And
it's the only week to have it.
Right. Several years ago, we were walking around, and we spied at one of these yard sales this beautiful iridescent, sparkly blue dress, and I pointed it out to Julie, who of course performs on stage, and I don't know, was it $5? It was some very small amount of money. And the story was that it was from an Amish family where the daughter had gone on that traditional Rumspringa, I think they call it, where they kind of go away and experience the real world for a week. BJ will know a lot more about that. But Julie bought the dress, And in many of her PR photos, she wears the blue dress because it fit perfectly, and it's very theatrical, and it makes her look great on stage for whatever she's doing. And so you never know. And I used to accompany Jay Marshall when Jay would go around the village, and he would go to every yard sale, and he bought so much crap. He bought books and tools and all sorts of. What are you going to do with all this stuff, Jay? And he says, "Oh, I didn't have one of these. I didn't have a left-handed, vegetable peeler or some such thing."
Well, the first time I had attended this, I remember having I bought a dollhouse illusion out of somebody's trunk of their car, because again, it's not just the dealers at the dealer show, but obviously they've got all these tents, as you're saying, David, they're all set up and everything then too. So there's just a lot to go around. Jerry mentioned about the Amish night. I want to mention that's something else. If you get there a little bit early, Michael Mode puts this thing together with the Amish chicken dinner and all this kind of thing that is phenomenal. And John Sturck, yes, thank you. I'm not going to forget the street performers that you and Jane, I know you were the one who kind of puts this thing together, John, and kind of coordinates all this and has some street performers, and they've got a street fair, an art fair, some other things going on and whatnot's going on. You've arranged for that. I know Janu Taylor again and some others who are working with you, many other street magicians. And I mean, my gosh, there's so much going on throughout this whole time.
And Greg likes to call it the Woodstock of magic.
That's awesome. That's correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
BJ will attest to the impromptu game night on Monday evenings at our house.
Oh yes, that's absolutely. That's new traditions spring up every year, it seems.
Do you remember it, or have you had too much chocolate?
No, well, I haven't had too much chocolate tonight. I may have had some that night too, but it was funny. I do remember that was a wonderful evening, and it was my goal to get Rick to squirm just any way I could. So
yes, we need to explain that at the house that we rent, where we throw the party, it isn't just me throwing the party. It's Brian LaBeouf, and it's Julie and Rick Swaney, who builds props for Abbott's now, but lives out in the state of Washington, and we all descend on it. And
I think we were playing Cards Against Humanity, and whenever it was Rick's turn to read, he's a much more clean-cut and straight-laced appearing individual than myself. So I was trying to get.
Or me.
To have to read the. I think then all of us there at the house, I would say. But we were all trying to get him to have to read the most vulgar and terrible things, and it was just delightful.
And he's one of those guys that once he starts laughing, that something will set him off, that he can't stop. And of course, you don't even know why he's laughing, but it's a very contagious emotion. And we're all laughing at the table because he's read something on one of those cards. We don't know what it is, but it's obviously reduced him, and we're all laughing already. It's great fun. It's just an example of all the stuff that goes on that you would never see advertised in a sort of a menu of events. None of this stuff would show up, but it occurs every year.
Mm-hmm.
It is. It's kind of like, what was that? Stan Allen had referred to it as Brigadoon, because they are throwing cards, and that's where
Gabe Blackstone did.
Yeah, Street of Cards would come from it, and it's just strewn with that. And the next day, everything is all cleaned up, and it's amazing. And it's back to just its regular little village, and you'd never know it was there. It was Brigadoon, Right. And that was Gabe Blackstone who had first said that? You said, Al?
Well, I don't know if she's the first one to say that, but she wrote the foreword to the Graveyard book.
Oh,
pardon me.
Chuck Arkin had asked us something about.
Looks like you're frozen up.
It's another registration.
Yeah, we're getting another one coming in. We're close.
Lodging.
We're down to 48.
Now, BJ, Greg.
48 more. Call now.
Greg would tell you to answer the phone and take the money.
You're probably right.
Pick up the phone. Do that, BJ. Pick up the phone. See what they say.
All right, let's do
Yes, let's take the call.
Yeah, see what they say.
He looks like a DJ taking every third call.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me get your telephone number. I'll give you a call back as soon as we're off.
It's gone.
Right, Ted?
There we go.
There we go. We got number 48 to go.
47. Come on, can I get a 47 before we go to commercial break?
Yeah, I'll call you back when we're done. And then, my friends,
here's another thing about traditions.
What was that?
There you go.
Somebody calling in?
Every demonstration a sale.
Every demonstration a sale. We're down to 49 registrations. I got to call them back when we're done here.
Sue Holstein and also.
Back in the day, we all looked forward to seeing Jay Marshall.
Yes, of course.
Say it again.
Am I up?
Yeah.
I said back in the day, we all looked forward to seeing Jay Marshall. Not only was he a great friend, but he happened to be the Dean of American Magicians. Before that, Dorney was the Dean of American Magicians. There may have been somebody in between the two, I don't recall. Now we've got George Schindler. I mean, what a wonderful feeling to know you've got such a luminary just hanging out with us. Again, I keep going back to tradition. This is almost empty, so maybe I'm talking a little bit too much. But seriously, folks, you are all my family, disjointed sometimes and happy other times. Regardless, I love you all. This will be number 48 for me in a row, and I can't wait.
But yeah, we have. I'm trying to find over here where we've got George Schindler is in the house there somewhere.
Is he still on?
I am assuming he's still. I'm still looking to see if he's still in here or not. So I don't know. But anyhow, yeah, it is kind of cool. All the folks that we've got on here then right now, watching this is. That's funny, a telethon. But there are so many other parties. There are a lot of social aspects, and as you said, there also will be the Shipshawana that you go to, and apparently, who was that? I think Chuck or somebody. I'm sorry. Chuck Arkin did ask about lodging, and that is an issue. Of course, there are people who just rent out their houses for the week and then they leave or whatever. But the closest place to stay would be Sturgis or Coldwater, where they do have some motels, and they're about 18 to 20 miles away, one side or the other. Is that about right?
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Right.
Sturgis and Coldwater are close, and they're equidistant, east or west, just depending on which direction you're going when you're leaving, basically. And then there's also Battle Creek to the north, or Kalamazoo a little bit further north, and then Three Rivers a little further west. All have hotels and motels as options. But really, we've been doing the Airbnb thing here in Colon since before Airbnb was a thing.
Yeah.
People have been renting out rooms, renting out couches, renting out their backyards for camping, and all that kind of stuff for decades now. I put together a group a few years ago. It's not as active as it once was on Facebook, called Rooms for the Get Together, as an effort to try and connect locals who might have a place available with those from out of town who are looking for a place. But it's really kind of cool. There's friendships that have formed that way that have lasted lifetimes. Just 2 doors down from me, I know the Stockton family stays. Anthony and his parents every time they come, and they come up and visit the family there periodically. They came up just to see the new baby, and to have some 5-star pizza the other day. But yeah, just came to Colon to because they're friends now, and there's nothing quite like the Abbott's Magic Get Together, and I'm ready to sell number 48 or get down to 48. So I'm ready for the phone to ring again.
There we go. And by the way, then too, that George Schindler came in, said still awake, so he's here.
Here's a tip for people coming in. As BJ has told you, that Coldwater and Sturgis are almost identically the same distance apart to the east and the west, 17 to 18 miles. Coldwater motels and hotels are far more affordable than Sturgis. It's worth the drive to Coldwater, even if you're coming from the east, say Chicago or whatever. Stay in Coldwater if you want to.
That would be west.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're coming in from the west, you're going to stay to the east. And the only thing we're missing now, based on stuff we've talked about, is Julie should be here in that blue dress with the tote board. And now showing the number of registrations that we.
Right.
Yeah. And as Steve Chesaday said, 5 stars got the best pizza in town. So that's another plus, another reason for going there. I think that they have, some really great pizza. Now, one of the things I was going to talk about, just I don't know briefly or not, but again, it started out with Abbott's, but I know that Sterlini's and I know Dwayne Laughlin had recently moved in. And I mean, help me out. I mean, there are several magic shops. I mean, and again, in a small town like this, and they kind of do some things also.
Well, just this last year during the quarantine and COVID and everything, the Laughlins purchased a building in town, and then purchased I'm not sure the arrangement they have with the theater, but they had purchased one building in town and ended up putting together a magic theater across the street. They've already done a couple of shows and have another one coming up here in the future. Then you've got directly across Swan Street, one block to the east, is Sterlini's Magic Theater and Magic Shop. And then right next door to Sterlini's is Fab Magic's location.
Fab Magic,
of course. Yep. And then, of course, Abbott's here in the Black Brick Building on St. Joe Street, where we've been since 1937. So it's, and I mean, that's 4 magic shops for 1,200 people. That's one magic shop per every 300 people per capita. Now, can any other place on the planet claim such a phenomenon? I think not.
I think not. That makes Colon the capital of magic. You got to think about calling yourself that,
Well, that's got a ring to it. Maybe we'll see what we can do. Did you know? I'm sure everyone here has heard the story, but would you like the quick rundown of why Colon, Michigan is the magic capital of the world? It's a great story.
No, we got to go. I'm sorry. We run out of time. I got a thing right here. No, yeah, of course.
Well,
yes, we want to hear.
Basically, in 1926, Harry Blackstone Sr. was looking for some property to purchase. He had been renting summer property in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and wanted a place that he could purchase.
How long does this go?
His wife, get to the end. His wife.
Well, we were planning. I'm sorry, Dave. We were planning on being an hour. What the hell? Oh my gosh! Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable.
We're having fun, man.
I need a refill on my drink.
I just filled mine up, so I hope you got your shaker kind of nearby there, Al. If you don't, go get it.
I got a show in 45 minutes. I have to do the ASRA again.
Hey, it's pudding night at the house. It's the pudding night at the home. I got to get going.
You guys are making me feel the same way I did when I came off the stage in 2012. Like I'd just been on too damn long.
No, go ahead. It's a great story, and it's a good one.
1926, the Blackstone family moved to our town because Harry was looking for some property on water, and his wife Inez happened to find some for sale on a Sunday drive here in Colon. So they moved here. The house was perfect. It was large. They had a barn where they could house a menagerie that they toured with and touch up the wooden props, and it had several small fishing cottages on the property where their members of their troop could stay. It became known as Blackstone Island locally and became kind of like a legendary place. Blackstone invited other magic friends up to Colon to spend some time hanging out, fishing, relaxing, whatever. And Percy Abbott was one of them. He came to town, met a local girl, fell in love, and never left. So then we had Blackstone and Abbott. Now, together, the two of them started a magic company together using Blackstone's celebrity status and Percy Abbott's business experience. They called it the Blackstone Magic Company, but the partnership only lasted a year and a half before there was a major falling out, and they never talked to each other again.
Wow.
Now, there's different, the egos are involved in showbiz, guys. You know that, right? But there's different theories as to what the disagreement was about. We can discuss that in person when you're in Colon after you've called me to register. So,
and what's that number again?
That would be 269-432-3235. Thank you very much for asking, Scott.
Operators are standing by.
Or at least BJ is, and the candy bars haven't gotten to the point where I can't take the numbers down yet. So, in 1934, after the dissolution of the Blackstone Magic Company, Percy Abbott wanted to start another magic company in Colon because his wife Gladys was pregnant and they didn't want to travel anymore. So that's when he advertised a trick called Squash in several different magic publications. Squash, if you're not familiar, a vanishing shot glass held in your hand. Hands are clasped together, the shot glass disappears. So we like to say at Abbott, we're one of the only businesses in the world built on a shot glass rather than destroyed by one. Then it was in September of 1934 when Percy and his then partner Riesel started what they called the Abbott's Magic Open House. It was a one-day event just to get a bunch of people to come to the shop to spend some money. They had 80 people show up to the first event. The 80 people spent a grand total of $88. The guys considered it such an overwhelming success. We've been doing it almost every year since. So it was the second year, the second event, the second year that they called it the Abbott's Magic Get Together. So that was the first Abbott's Magic Get Together. Then the year after that, they held the event again, and that one they called the third Abbott's Magic Get Together. So if you're paying attention, we had the Abbott's Magic Open House, the first Abbott's Magic Get Together, and then the third Abbott's Magic Get Together. So if you're a fan of irony, you may notice there was never a number 2 in colon. Okay.
A number 2 in colon.
That some of you will get that later. Anyway, so Abbott's, we've held the convention almost every year since. It was at the third or fourth get together when Lester Lake said this has got to be the magic capital of the world. Percy liked the title and ran with it. That's what we've called ourselves ever since. In 1991, Carl Levin declared it on the floor of the U.S. Senate. We've got a copy of the congressional record here. I don't know what gives U.S. senators the right to declare world capitals, but we'll take it. And if anybody ever asks you, why is Colon the magic capital of the world, and you don't want to give them the long story I just shared, the basic short answer, the TLDR version of things, Harry Blackstone Sr. liked to fish. And that's why Colon, Michigan is the magic capital of the world. And that's the truth. If it hadn't been for that one little bit of trivia, he wouldn't have been looking for the lakefront property. If he wasn't looking for the lakefront property, Inez wouldn't have noticed the piece that was for sale here in Colon. The Blackstones wouldn't have moved to town. This wouldn't be the magic capital of the world. I wouldn't be sitting where I am with the world's most expensive wallpaper glued to the ceiling of the showroom behind me. So it all goes to show you, and I think it's a valuable lesson on life itself, because I'm sure as a boy, when someone took young Harry to go fishing for the first time in that moment, they probably thought they were just killing some time, wasting a little time having a moment. But look at the seed that was actually planted in that moment and what was bloomed from it. Sure, it wasn't a direct path, but that sparked something, and all of this has come from it. And the fact of the matter is, our entire lives are full of moments like that, where we're planting these invisible seeds from which we don't know what will bloom, and we're taking far too many of them for granted. So think about Colon and get back in the moment.
I like that.
I do too.
Think about Colon and get back in the moment. Hey, Al, looks like you whipped up some more.
I'll drink to that, BJ.
We're not going to be that much longer.
Oh, it's earlier.
I'll drink faster.
That's right. You're in Hawaii, so
what the heck? It's only
way earlier.
It's only 3:15 in the afternoon, and I got a buzz.
Yeah.
I gotta
hey, one of those things.
Drinking with Al the Only is one of the reasons why I don't drink anymore. That's
One of the things I noticed that Jeffrey Allen's on over there, and that is that he had mentioned about the Marshall's American Museum of Magic that Bob Lund used to have over there. And that's not that very far. So that's another reason for coming. So this way that you can go and visit the American Museum of Magic, which is phenomenal.
Not to be missed.
Yeah, Marshall, Michigan is only about an hour from Colon or so. Just head over, get on 69 and go straight up, and you'll be in Marshall in no time. And they've got...
Shut up, Al.
That's Colon 69. There used to be a Crotch Lake around here, too. I mean, as long as we're getting...
I remember that.
Crotch Lake?
Yes.
Yes.
That was on 86.
And there is a town nearby that's called Climax. So if you're on your way to Colon and end up in Climax, you've gone entirely too far. But I apologize. No, I don't. I'm a guy named B.J. from a town called Colon. You got to work with what you got. That's
There have been so many jokes, I'm sure, about Colon. I mean, the fact that we're all together, we're all butthole buddies. I mean, it's just, I would think there are just so many things. And as you had said before, Al, it's a good thing. It's funny that I mentioned this of Colon buddies, and I said, well, it's a good thing we're not from Butte, Montana, where the convention is going to be. So anyhow,
By the way, we're down to 45 registrations. 45 registrations. 5 more before we say goodnight. BJ will sell some more chocolate. David and I will have another cocktail. Mr. Wells is well on his way to his 3rd. Let's keep this party going.
Or 4th.
One of my regrets is the time I visited Colon, although I don't think this was during the get-together, and that drive-in frozen custard ice cream stand that's on 86 as you go to Coldwater. It was a Dairy Dandy or a Tasty Freeze at the time. This was decades ago.
Wow.
But they have they have that board where they can put letters up for, whatever the special is that week. They can change the letters. Why did I not take a picture of it? It said, "Home of the Colon Burger."
Oh.
A more appetizing sandwich I cannot imagine.
The Colon Burger.
That's why we suggest bottled water while you're in Colon. That Colon water will leave a funky taste in your mouth. That's a.
Oh yeah, that reminds me about when we used to have the 4F convention years ago up in Buffalo, and there was a place that I don't know if I should actually tell this story. This girl, it was a cartoon drawing on a girl bent over and it said plenty of parking in the back and of this bar. So it was kind of a crude thing. Let's see. So John said Abbott's close up. Close up. That's right. That's another thing. Then can you talk a little bit about that, BJ? I know they have a close up convention completely separate from the get together.
I love Colon in the springtime. So we have the close-up convention. It's usually every March. We haven't had it the last couple of years, unfortunately. We haven't had anything in a year. But we get about 100 or so guys that register for that one, and we bring in 3 performers, usually 2 names and an up-and-comer who will perform and lecture. And it's almost like the Abbott's get together, concentrate, if you will. It's a very small, almost tighter knit group because the same ones then also come back in August. Generally, most of them come back to the get together in August. But that is almost 48 solid hours of magic. I mean, we started at around 7 o'clock on Friday evening, and then the party goes till the wee hours of the morning at Abbott's at Costello's, as we like to call it, the after parties there at Dr. Costello's place. And then we start again the next morning and go till Saturday night. And again, people wander back down to Dr. Jerry's afterwards. And I've seen some stuff during the Abbott's get together that almost made me want to, or during the close-up convention rather when I was younger, that almost made me want to quit magic. I mean, it was like I knew just enough to know that these guys had to be in league with the devil or something because what I was seeing wasn't possible. So so I wasn't sure what I was getting into at that point. But the close-up convention in March for guys who like close-up magic. If you're in this area, that's definitely a must-attend convention. And again, calling it a convention is a misnomer.
So there's a question over here about whether would there have been.
Hey, Michael Conklin just posted something.
Yeah, he had asked about the.
Did you see Michael Conklin's thing?
Talent contest. Yeah, I know we have.
I mean, it was prestigious just to enter the contest. One year. Lance was first, Hobson scored second, and Mac was in third place. This was, as kids back in the late 70s, we couldn't wait to compete. And the numbers of attendees who now do compete is so minimal. We had one day just of juniors, second day of seniors.
Why do you think that? I said, why do you think that is? We have fewer people who attend, or rather, who will enter contests.
Because kids aren't growing up wanting to be magicians anymore. Back in the day, when Bibick and I showed up at Mrs. Bidwell's front porch and rented army cots, out of 6 of us kids, my kid brother was tagging along with me. 5 of us wanted to be magicians. That was our life goal.
Yeah.
think it's changed also. Whereas like today, I think the younger generations who are starting in Magic, they would consider like likes and shares to be the equivalent of a contest victory back in the day. And it's just a different, it's a different world. So stage competitions they don't have the same sort of appeal as they once did, I think, in that regard.
I think BJ has hit the nail right on the head. If all you've learned and all of your experience is the sort of in-your-face magic with coins and rubber bands and a pencil and a deck of playing cards, how does that translate to getting up on a stage and trying to entertain a group of 25 or 250 people? That's too bad. That's too bad, because
the old timers taught us showmanship. The old timers taught us the business end of magic,
and that you had to entertain.
And we needed an audience, and our audience had to be live.
Okay, David, let me ask you a question then. I wrote an article about this sometime about the Boxmen. What is it you think that was the it factor for Blackstone and all the illusionists, basically, when they were basically just pointing at boxes? They were boxmen. I mean, as you know, the assistants are the ones who are bending themselves into shapes, contortionists, to get into these things. And so what was it about, what is it still about these people that would make them it? I mean, it's like, you want to go and see this show, you got to go see Horace Golden or back then or whatever. You got to go see David Seebach. What is it about you that, I mean, is it just because it's not just you bought a bunch of cool boxes and you got some assistants, but there's something about you. We come to see the David Seebach show, particularly, let's say, around Halloween. I'm sorry, I'm getting off on a tangent I would talk about normally on the podcast, but I would like to know that.
Well, from my perspective, the difference for me was my goal when I was maybe a junior high school age or whatever, was not to be a magician, but was to put on a show. The show always came first. The magic trick was secondary. I was always interested in the elements of the theater and in creating a character and telling a story. And so if I picked an illusion, let's say the girl without a middle or the disembodied princess, it was why is a magician or a person putting a woman in a box and then doing these things to her? Well, if many years ago, in a catacomb beneath the Sphinx in ancient Egypt, some cockamamie story, and then we had costuming and music. I think the old masters realized that the goal of a magician, I don't think fooling is number one. I think entertaining is number one.
There you go.
Captivating. Yeah. They had personality. Remember when George Burns was alive and he would be a guest, say, on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. And if George Burns started to talk and tell Johnny what he had for breakfast, we listened. What did we really care whether he had Frosted Flakes or grape nuts? No, but he was interesting. We liked him. We knew him. He was a personality. He was not what I call a furniture mover. And that's the guy who can do 6 illusions in 45 seconds. But what do you care?
Right. Yeah. Good answer.
Very
good
true.
answer.
Thank you. Yeah.
Sorry, I kind of got off on a tangent over there, but there are so many different aspects of Abbott's get together that as Jeff had said, amen, David. Yeah, very well said. There's so many different aspects about Abbott's get together from the standpoint of golly, when you get there early and you can go to the chicken thing over that the Amish have over in Shipshawana. That's apparently at the restaurant all the time, but it's just kind of different. And then the different social parties and things that people have all the time, and that you can get hooked in fairly quickly. I remember my first convention was probably 1981, I think. It may have been 79. Matter of fact, I think it may have been in the 70s. Now I think about that. And which there was someone who had asked a question. Can you remember your first attendance that you had ever gone to Colon? Any of you guys? First one? Go ahead, Al.
As a convention or just as a visit?
No, well, there's a difference. I mean, you went down to Colon before you went to a convention? I mean, to the Abbott get-together?
In 1972, I paid $2 to get catalog number 20. Oh, gosh, I love that book. I was going to have one of everything out of that book. And I saw this picture of this get-together in the city. And it was happening in August. So I begged, I pleaded my parents to please take me, please take me. Well, in 1973, they did. Except we showed up the week after the get-together. And even though my parents they weren't against me doing magic, and they were supportive, but my dads would laugh and say, oh, so this is the big city of magic, because everything was closed. Anyway, we stopped off to eat at one of the local restaurants, and the restaurant, the white shop on State Street was closed. The restaurant owner said, oh no, the factory's a block away. So we went in there, and we found out about the get-together, and so that was my first visit to Colon, but my first get-together was the following August in 1974.
Interesting.
For me, my family took a family vacation. It was my mom and dad and me, and it was a motoring vacation. We went out east, maybe Washington, D.C. or something like that. And when we left our home in Milwaukee, my parents gave me $20 to spend on the vacation. I could spend it as I pleased.
Mm-hmm.
I did not spend a cent. On the way back, my dad agreed to detour off the Indiana toll road so we could go up to Colon, this place I wanted to visit. And I spent the $20 there buying an Abbott's Bang Up Surprise and a rope trick. And I think Duke Stern probably sold it to me at that time. That was my first visit. And then I started becoming a customer. And that's how it all began for me.
Hey, BJ?
Yeah,
Jay
well, for
Marshall
me,
used to have a line. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jay. Go ahead, BJ.
No, let's hear the. I want to hear Jay's line. I might steal it.
What was the line, Al?
It's a great line. Jay always used to say a guy goes to a magic convention with a $20 bill and a shirt. 4 days later, he hasn't changed either.
Yeah, I'll probably use it.
we should all remember that Jay Marshall once was asked what his definition of the perfect magic convention would be.
Oh.
And it was open bar, no shows.
Abbott's.
And although it's funny, stop to think about it. The big attraction at Abbott's now this year with this star-studded lineup, of course, that's going to be wonderful. But the big attraction at Abbott's every year isn't who's on the stage. It's all the other stuff that we've been talking about for over an hour here. That's why people come back. It's not just the shows. In fact, that's a rather small part of it. It's just seeing all these people that have become your friends that you do not see for the rest of the year, sharing stories, cutting up jackpots, swapping tales, maybe teaching each other a new card trick or something.
Well, that's kind of what happens over at the Legion Hall.
And to go a little further, and to go even a little further of what David's saying, we have the distinct pleasure of spending the evening with you, Scott, and us three old-time friends visiting each other. Prior to social media, boy, that August was Holy Week. Other than what we read in the magazines for the previous 11 months, we had no social interaction with any of these people. We couldn't wait to see these acts on stage. Hear another joke from Jay Marshall. Like you said, George Johnstone, Sid and Bruce. I mean, all of these people, Bob and Jenny Lewis, the Conklins. We couldn't wait to get back to that city. Now we're fortunate enough to be able to at least visit each other in this world of social media,
this virtual
world, and it's nice, and people are graciously giving of their time to watch and listen. We never had that And that's what made going to that little hamlet every August so special, because we got to see the people we only read about in New Tops and only saw in the other Magic magazines. I'm sorry,
So
BJ.
me,
I didn't mean to cut in. I just love J. Marshall stories. Your experience, your first visit to Colin, please.
So it was in the 1980s, actually. I lived in the Chicago suburbs at the time, and I had an aunt that was local, and she got matinee tickets. I don't remember the exact year. I think it was maybe 86 or 87, but I remember Ronald McDonald performing the washing machine on the matinee show. That stuck out in my memory. So whatever year we had Ronald McDonald on the matinee, that was my first Colin experience. And then my family moved here, I believe it was 1991. And I've been, like I said, hanging out here ever since. So they can't get rid of me.
You're part of the family.
Yeah.
Like a rash.
Like a rash.
Yeah.
A bad pity.
Pretty much.
Well, this is going to be a lot of fun this year.
Please, not while I'm trying to digest my alcohol.
Do you know also, BJ, whether or not they're going to have some social distancing? I mean, as of right now, do they only plan? I mean, once the registration, I mean, typically they were able to accept a lot more registrants, but this year, are they going to kind of contain this? Really? Again, where there are only like 49 people left, I think, you know.
Yeah,
So,
they've limited the number of registrations that they're selling this year, and they are not at this point selling any additional tickets to the evening shows.
oh, no public tickets.
Correct. At this point,
Wow.
At this point, we're not going to be opening it up to public tickets. Perhaps if things change by August, that will change as well. But at this point, it's only to people who have purchased a registration, and we've limited the number of registrants as well.
Yeah. And so they should probably, again, register fairly soon, and they've got the number and the email where they can go to check this out. This has gone on longer than what I had originally intended, but
Tomorrow.
What's that? Also, Mike said, yeah, there might be a Sunday, Saturday matinee. Might not be a Saturday matinee this year. And those Saturday matinees typically are open to the public, and so there are a lot of kids who come in and they have that as a fundraiser. Is that right there, BJ?
The way the matinee had traditionally been done is it was a show that was used as a fundraiser for the Lions Club, but the local Colin Lions Club has been dwindling, as many service organizations have been. So it's possible that this year there will not be a matinee.
Well, another thing, it seems like they a couple of years ago cut out the hot dog thing over at the Kroger that the Lions Club used to do. Is that right? And why they do that?
I think I think if I'm not mistaken, it's Kiwanis that does the hot dog thing.
Correct.
I think they were there in 2019. I could be mistaken about that, but I think they were back out there doing it. But yeah, it was the quarter hot dogs, quarter sodas, quarter bag of chips. You could have a feast for under $5.
Yep, boy, that's true. And then you had, as John Sturck had arranged for a close-up, you had somebody who, like Jania Taylor, or someone who was doing some street magic right there while you're eating hot dogs. Again, not doing tableside restaurant magic, but actually doing like a street magic right there then too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this has been just a delight. So, as Michael had, Conklin said, Conklin's another thing. It's a great party over there that they have as well. And it's great seeing everybody here tonight. I want to thank everybody for being part of this. This is, again, I just looked up the clock. It's like, oh my gosh, we've run over longer. Typically, it's supposed to be a happy hour, and this has been a happy almost couple of hours. It's been just awesome. And we've had a lot of people who joined in and a lot of great comments. I want to thank everyone who has joined us here this evening for this. It's been just phenomenal as far as all of the comments that everybody's been giving us. And we've got just some great guests who are coming up next week then as well. And you'll see that whenever you watch the outro here in just a moment. But before that, I do want to mention one of the things that we have this week on the Magic Word podcast. today we just released the podcast with Andy Nyman, who was an actor in television and film and the West End and London, and of course was instrumental in working with Darren Brown. I think he's working on his 8th thing right now, and they've won several awards through his productions with Darren Brown. So that was today's podcast we just released. Next week, I'm going to be releasing one with Jason Byrne and talking to him about dove magic or bird magic, not just doves, but different birds and things. So those of you who are dove or bird magicians, you might enjoy listening to that one as well. We just had last week was Doc Eason talking about bar magic and everything. So we've just had a lot of really great guests on, and we've got some more people who are planned for the next few weeks. I want to encourage everyone, if you will, please, to make sure that you go and subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Texas Magician. That's me, a Texas Magician. That way you'll be notified whenever we're going to be going live with this, or you can go, of course, to facebook.com/The Magic Word Podcast. And I also encourage you to sign up for our pod letter. We have a newsletter that comes out each week, and we are just like 1 or 2 away from actually reaching 1,000 people. And once we do, whoever's that 1,000th person, I will announce your name in the next upcoming episode of the Magic Word Podcast. So it just kind of keeps you up to date who's going to be on from week to week and telling you what's going on there. And I'm just having a lot of fun with the podcast from week to week. And again, like at conventions, I do go like to Abbott's and I talk with people like Al and Dave and BJ and everybody. So that way that we have an opportunity to kind of have everybody feel as if you're actually there at the convention. And I hope that you guys have enjoyed whenever you guys have been on the podcast then as well. Might have gotten some feedback then too. So thank you very much for being on this show here this evening. This has been just phenomenal. So again, happy belated birthday to David Seebach for those who have not wished him.
Thank you.
Happy birthday earlier. That's right. Yeah, right over
Scott, 1,743 thank yous for letting me spread my colon love all over Facebook.
Scott, you're a dear friend. It's been a lot of great years. David, BJ, gosh, we're all blessed so much to know each other. Aloha, everyone. See you in August.
We will. It won't be that long before August. We've got so much going on. August is going to be a very busy month. We're going to be having, after we leave from Colon, we'll be heading then to Las Vegas for the Collectors event, which is going to be the thing coming up with, David Sandy and Bill Smith, and everybody has arranged for that. And then immediately after that, the next day is going to be Magic Live. Again, at the Orleans Hotel. I recommend that you get your reservations at the Orleans soon. I might also suggest you go ahead and get your reservations for FISM for next year, which will be in Quebec. So I'm going to be there. I've just made my reservations this last week. Just a reminder to get out and get your reservations for that then too. So if you haven't, go and check out FISM.org, I think it is, or whatever. And this is kind of something kind of cool. Let me just kind of show this, by the way, just underneath here, that if you are interested, by the way, this is my newest kind of T-shirt that I've got. Let me just show this. Nice. So I got a little swag there as well. So if you kind of scroll back up on the top of this, the chat line that we had, I've also got a link that you can go and purchase one of those if you have any interest whatsoever. Anyhow, thank you guys very much. Thank you, David Seebach, very much. Thanks, Kate, your buddy who helped arrange.
Absolutely, yeah.
She was awesome over there. And thank you. Then also, BJ, I'm glad that you were able to actually broadcast from the actual Abbott's get-together. That was just...
right inside Abbott's Magic, yeah. I'm breeding in the mold spores just for you guys.
Yeah, very cool. And also, Al, aloha. Thank you very much for joining us, Al. You're one of my best friends. And all you guys, I just love you guys. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
It's been great.
Thank you, Scott.
God bless.
You're welcome.
You.
And so, let me see if I can get this kind of queued up over here. Oh, and so until next week, I just got to say, this is Scotty out.